For this next little project, I just used some 2x4 pieces. There's a thin strip of oak that's been glued in the middle, and we've marked the center spot here. So we're going to scribe a circle. We've got our circles made with a compass, and we'll cut this off with a bandsaw. This just makes it easier on the lathe to start spinning and start cutting a circle than trying to chip these corners off the pine, which can cause some problems. So we'll cut that out next. This is a pretty simple home-built threading jig to work with a shopsmith. So we can cut threads for the outside as well as the inside of boxes. It's pretty straightforward. It is what you see. This can go back and forth on these tracks. We've got square stock under here. This bolt and this bolt will lock it down. This has the same thread as I can use on the shopsmith with an adapter. So these are the same. It's a 1x8 for the threads. And then this cranks through here with a cutter mounted on the shopsmith. To cut the threads in the head and the bottom piece for making boxes, or one side and the other, I wanted a real secure method of drilling taps that were nice and straight. So we've got a Beal cutter here. This is also 1x8 to match the threads on the jig at the shopsmith. This is an old bearing press that somebody was getting rid of. I pulled off the jack, got rid of the bent top piece to hold bearings, and then ran some thread through and temporarily have my scroll chuck on here because it all matches, it's the same. This just cranks and then drives that down. The nice thing about building a jig for the shopsmith is everything is adjustable. So this table comes up and down. Just have a crank to raise it up. Our jig here can go back and forth, and everything moves from side to side, of course. We'll just drill our 7/8 inch hole so that we can run it through the tapping jig and put some threads on it, and then take it over to the shopsmith jig and do some cutting. And the way that we mount these for the shopsmith, this is a 1x8 adapter. And that goes on here. We've got our threaded blocks. And we're going to take the jig off so that we can clean that up. lid. So we're going to put on the threading jig and get started with that. This is where the threading happens for the inside. And that's our little box made with the homemade jig for threading. Threads are pretty clean. This is just pine, just 2x4 pine wood, so it does chip out a little bit. This is the oak inlay there. It's got a nice tight fit. So, just something to play with. Thanks very much for taking a look.